Hi everyone, this is Mary DuCharme and I've spoken to you once before. I hope you visited my little video. Welcome back. I think I'd like to extend a little bit of information that I might impart on you on painting. As I explained earlier, painting is a wonderful experience, and maybe I can show you some easy ways to get started. You can take my advice or just plop it on yourself and buy some paint. But for an easy beginning, I sometimes just start out with some black and white paint, which you can change and do whatever you want with. I am going to do a small demo for you. It will be, if I may, get you to see what's behind me. I have a black compo board that I've drawn a little bit of picture on. I'm going to be doing a rooster for you, and I've done a few, so you'll get an idea of what they're going to look like. To begin the rooster, or any painting, I try to find my highest point of the picture, the widest point of the picture, the tallest point of the picture, and the lowest. And that gives me a little idea of where I want to go with it. Putting it on a blackboard is just as new to me right now as it is to you. I've had the other two that I did on boards and canvas and on paper. As a matter of fact, on Yupo paper. Anyone familiar with that would know that that's a very slippery paper. So I used a palette knife on that one. On this, I'm going to use the black and white because I think it's the easiest way to get your values without struggling with a ton of paint, ton of brushes. We'll start out with two. Actually, I guess they don't come any cheaper than this. It's a little bit of fabric paint. This is my black. And my white. And I can make the black and white give me a nice tone of gray, which will give me three values. Excuse me. When you buy the cheap paint, the lids don't stay on as much as you'd like them to. Now, if you give me a second, I stand up when I paint, and I will turn a light on if that doesn't affect your seeing what I'm doing. So we'll start out by just drawing in some basics here. You may not need to do as much as you think. Well, let's see what we do need to do. I want to sketch over the outline that I've done because I want you to be able to really see the picture. So I'm going to take a little bit of white and just draw over this. If you like, we can stop the camera for a moment, because this is only a boring part, tracing the picture, and then we'll come back to it. Thank you to come back at this time. I've got the drawing put in, and it's very vague. It's just something to give me a guidance. What I'd like to show you in doing the black and white are the value changes. The painting will probably turn out to be black, white, and gray. Those are the three values that are necessary for you to do a painting, even in color. So I will continue right now just to show you how I'll progress with this. And you can use whatever brushes you want. You must have some favorites, or you will eventually have some favorites. So I'm going to use a little bit of gray, mixing my black and white, to get the painting going. Painting on this surface is not the same as you're going to be painting on other surfaces. And that's the thing that you yourself will eventually evolve to find out what works best for you. If you need shadows, of course, the black of the board here works as the black that I need. But because I am using black and white, I can put black on it wherever I want to. This is acrylic that I'm painting with, so it washes with water, and you can paint over it if you've made a mistake. These are value changes. I've picked up a little bit of white I didn't want to, so I'll just try to get rid of it. Remember that if you make a mistake, it's no big deal. That's the glory of this painting, that you can paint over whatever mistake you may have made. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Aren't you lucky? I'm making a lot of mistakes. Now remember, we're doing black and white. And if you were doing this in color, you would have your red comb of the rooster. And this would be red. So my value changes are giving you a lighter color where the red would be, and darker where other colors would be. When you paint in black and white, you really can glaze over all of this in color. And if we have enough time, I'll show you that. If not, we'll do another lesson of glazing, which keeps you from having to do a whole ton of painting. This is an interesting subject. I had never done a rooster before, but once you learn how to paint, you can paint anything. Just don't be afraid. Fear is what keeps most people from doing a pretty good job. They keep thinking that it has to be perfect, and it doesn't. It just has to be interesting, and you can do that. I hope you're beginning to see the value changes. We're going from light to medium to dark. True value changes usually take about 12 colors of the same just to make them lighter and darker. But minimum value changes work. I'm using 3. So 3 from 10 is a big difference, but it works. And even though this is a black and white painting, your imagination tells you it's what it is. I keep picking up that white. Well, as soon as it dries a tiny bit, I can get rid of that. And then I can say, there you're going in. I can say to myself, that's really what I wanted, so that I'm not wrong. And you can say that to yourself. That's really one you wanted, because you weren't wrong. You have to be the one that praises your work. That's very important. Because no one else is going to really care. They care about their own work. But very recently I heard a remark made about teachers and teaching. It says, whenever you teach, the teacher learns lessons. And I really believe that's true. There's so many easy ways to do things that we complicate them ourselves. Now here's the fun part coming up. We gotta have all these feathers coming down here. So what you change then is your stroke. Instead of going this way, we're now going the way of feathers. And because we are only in black and white, we have to try to make them look like they're colorful and changing. He's bothering me because he doesn't have an eye. Does he bother you because he doesn't have an eye? I'll put an eye in. Helen Van Wyck, who I have applauded over and over in my lifetime as being the best artist I've ever known. Her mother used to watch her paint and tell her that put the eye in. She did a lot of portraits because it bothered the mother that she didn't have an eye. And it's very true, paintings take a different look when you get the eye in. A little more paint, but it's coming. Let's see if I can drop anything this time. Your approach would be very, very similar in color. And you could still start out with the black and white and do a glaze over it. As a matter of fact, I know we won't have time for this one, but we certainly could hold on to this and do a glazing over it next time I meet with you. Get that eye in. It's not much of an eye. I'm not that familiar with roosters, but if you like, you can always look them up on the internet. And when you're finished the part that we've done, you can always go over it with more paint. I'll step back a minute and see what it looks like. We've probably gone far enough for you to have learned something from this. If not, there's always more time. I'm going to just settle that boy down. Right now he's floating, and give him a little bit more oomph here. Let's get him down. So he sits and stands on the ground. And we give a few little sprigs, grass. Fix his leg a little bit. And unless I'm forgetting something, I think he's far along for you to appreciate it. The value changes, the fact that it can be done in black and white. Any painting can be done in black and white and gray. Your value changes are easy to see here. If you were painting this in paint, you'd have a more difficult time with color, because sometimes we change color, but the color value is not there. Here you have your values, your black, your gray, and your white. Thank you for visiting me.